Welcome to this video, Science of Soul Connections in Astrology Part 4, and we are talking about the split twin flame paradox, especially when it comes to the feminine and masculine, the yin-yang energy in split twin flames. So prepare to have your mind blown, because I am going to teach you some things I am sure you have not heard or seen like this before. Especially if you are on the twin flame journey, or also if you are a twin flame coach, this might be very valuable information for you. So make sure you stay till the end so you can understand what we are really talking about when it comes to the split twin flame paradox and the yin-yang energy. We are going to talk about what is a split twin flame, first of all. Then the yin-yang energy in split twin flames, and then how does it apply to astrology, and then we are going to talk more about the paradox of split twin flames and yin-yang energy. Yes, the split twin flame. There's two different types of twin flames: the split twin flames, which is the common type, and the monadic twin flames, an extremely rare type. And this video is going to focus on the split twin flame, the common type. There is going to be another video on the monadic twin flame, so if you subscribe and hit the bell icon, you will be notified once I upload it. Yeah, what is a split twin flame? They meet for the awakening journey, and they mirror each other's shadows. And you know it, often one person runs and the other chases. However, this does not automatically mean that you are dealing with a twin flame, because it could be trauma bonding, and every person who has abandonment issues will attract somebody who is not there for them, who is not available either emotionally or because they're married or whatever it is. So this is not a sign of a twin flame. I mean, it is a sign of a twin flame, yes, it can be that, but just experiencing that does not automatically mean it's a twin flame, because that could be trauma bonding, a catalyst connection, or something else. But the reason is that often both have wounds when it comes to connection, and very often it is connected to the mother energy in the early childhood, and the divine feminine, or actually I should say at this point distorted feminine, because she's not in her divine energy yet. But the feminine has a fear of loss and abandonment and is too clingy. And I wrote there energetically, because clingy does not necessarily mean that she's contacting him 100 times a day. That can be the case, that she's not really accepting his boundaries. But it could also be thinking about him all the time, but in a negative way. Why is he not calling? What is happening? You know, this kind of cycle. And this is clingy energy as well. The divine masculine has to withdraw and trigger the fear of the abandonment for her to heal. He has to trigger that, because in that way she is getting conscious of what she has oppressed. And the divine masculine, and I should also say distorted masculine, at this point it's not divine energy yet, but he has a fear of opening up due to old wounds. And so of course they attracted one another to show them their shadows. Somebody who has fear to open up, of course, is scared of somebody who has this clingy energy, and when they feel like the other person is needy, and then of course they have to withdraw to do their healing. Yeah, he's getting triggered by the intensity, both by the way, of the connection and the clingy nature of the, at this point, distorted feminine energy, and that is why he withdraws. This gives both the opportunity to become aware of these templates and to heal and do their shadow work. The pain in this journey, and this is important, we're talking about twin flames, okay, is that she projects her needs onto him. Like, I need you to be with me. I'm not happy when you're not there. And he's not emotionally available. This is what hurts. He will not abuse her mentally, physically, or emotionally. That is not a twin flame of any kind. Twin flames, they trigger our wounds, yes, by not giving us what we think we need, but they would not abuse us in any way. That is very important. That would be more like a karmic connection that can feel a lot like a twin flame, because to do shadow work, of course, your soul would attract somebody that you cannot really get rid of, and it will have to be very intensive to push you into the work. Okay, that is important as well. But once the wound is healed, they can reunite and stay together. And I honestly believe all twin flames or split twin flames can get together if they are true to the journey and do the shadow work. True to the journey, I mean by that is they learn manifesting, for example. They're getting out of lack mentality, like my person is not there, and they recalibrate their own energies, and they learn to align within themselves. And once they're aligned, their higher self that is still connected to the other person will guide them and will give them that feeling like you are connected, you can do it, and she will trust that part of herself. That is what I mean with true to the journey. And yeah, it's not in another life, it is in this life. So I've read it in some comments like, oh, maybe we'll make it in another life. There is no other life. I'm sorry. There is no time. You only experience it. And if there is no time, only and now, there cannot be future lives. Your soul would not come down here to say, oh, maybe in another life you can have it. No, you can have it in this life. If you want it in this life, you can have it. If you do the shadow work, you can check out my other content on coaching if you want to know more about this. This is more about the Yin-Yang part. And yes, a monadic twin flame, that's the difference. They would meet for the ascension journey, not the awakening journey. The divine feminine will already have been awakened and healed her wounds in order to attract a monadic twin flame. So they don't have the big aspect of shadow work. Of course, there could be some traces left that needs to be aligned, but she will already have learned to trust the universe, to trust the connection, to trust her own guidance, and only in this kind of energy you would even be able to attract a monadic twin flame. Yeah, often she will have had at least one catalyst experience. And the last one before she meets a monadic twin flame could have been like a split twin experience. You know, this kind of template, the running, chasing that we were just talking about, in order to prepare her for the monadic twin flame if she has one. Most people would then unite with their split twin flame, and there is few people who would then go on. For them, the split twin experience was only a preparation for the monadic twin flame. That is not a soulmate, by the way. Some people think, oh yeah, after I healed the split twin flame, I meet a soulmate. That is not true, because then you attracted a catalyst and then will attract a soulmate, and it's not a twin flame. Yeah, Plato and the spherical people. That kind of reminds me of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Plato and the spherical people. Plato, the ancient Greek philosopher, actually wrote about split twin flames, and he called them spherical people because according to his story, and of course it's a metaphor, okay, he probably did not believe that that was really the case, it's a metaphor, but he wrote about people who had 4 legs, 4 arms, and 2 heads. And they grew too powerful, and the gods, most likely Zeus, did not like the power of those strong people, so he separated them. And now they were 2 people, you know, once they were 1 person with 2 heads, 4 arms, 4 legs, and now they were 2 individuals, and they just hacked each other because they wanted to be connected again. And when they were separated, they actually starved, and then the gods grew pity on them and said, okay, once you do find your true mate, then you will be connected again. You know, and this probably reminds you a lot of these split twin flames. They were one soul, one entity that was split into 2 and is then looking for their counterparts. And you know, the twin flame mythology, once they find each other, then they can unite in the other realms and will stay together for forever. And yeah, so the twin flames, we are in the age of Aquarius, so it's a phenomenon that is very prominent right now, but it's not the first time twins came to this earth. They always have been. And yeah, even the ancient Greeks knew about them. But let's talk about the Yin-Yang paradox in split twin flames. And this is a graphic I made for my long video about divine counterpart astrology or connections. You may have seen it. So this is one soul, God, and it splits again and again and again. And you can imagine each of these points would have another split like this, but that would not be very good to see. So we just took this one. But so there was one soul, and in the end, imagine all of those, like all of these had that's a ton of souls, right? And So the soul split and split and split and split and split. And then it created this monad. This is called a monad. It's like a cluster, like an oversoul. And it can also be called a soul family. And the split twin would be, they split and split and split. It would be the last split. This is one soul. You see it has the feminine and the masculine energy, and here as well. This would be the body, like the three-dimensional body. And then this entity, it's split again. And we do have the masculine energy is the orange, I believe, and blue is the feminine. And now there are two entities that came out of one. So it is the last split that happened in the creation of souls. The very last one. There were one, and you see it's orange and blue, and then it's separated into masculine and feminine. And yeah, like the Yin-Yang symbols that holds both feminine and masculine in each part. Some split twin flames are more masculine in nature and others are more feminine. You see it here. There was one soul and then it split into a more masculine and more feminine part. I do say more masculine and more feminine because we always have the essence of the other within us as well. Imagine the Yin-Yang symbol, the black, the feminine. Yin will have the white spot, the yang in it itself. So this is why I say more masculine or feminine in nature. So this already has been like a feminine, more feminine soul. And then it split again. This would be the more feminine. Here it would be a more masculine part. So this would be orange. I made this in both colors to show you, yes, even though it would be more dominant blue, it still will have the orange, the masculine energy. And then we do have it here combined, and then it splits again into a more masculine and more feminine energy. But again, we still always have part of the other. That's the paradox, kind of like. Even though they are masculine and feminine, they already are more feminine, or if this would be the soul that split and split and split, this would be more masculine in nature, even if it would have a masculine and feminine side. But since they always hold both energy, they still split up in masculine and feminine. Yeah, they have both, and still it's a masculine or more feminine energy. And very important, this is mitosis. You probably heard of it in biology. This is a splitting of cells. And I also always like to use the metaphor of identical twins. When they split, like it's a lump of cells in the uterus, and that's one lump of cell, one fertilized egg, one sperm, then splits and creates two embryos. However, they're not half people. Both of them have two heads, they have two arms, two legs, two hearts. And unless they are Siamese twins, they are not connected, still they have the special bond. They are not half people. If you are a split twin flame, you are not a half a person. You have a counterpart, however. So they are complete within themselves, but they are connected to the split twin through energy cords and the shared oversoul. So we saw it here, even though they're split, they still have the oversoul that they share, and that is still connecting them. So they are connected in higher dimensions. Let's say this would be like the 5D, and then we do have the 3D, and then in higher dimensions they still are connected. So if you already get some value out of this content, please like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, check out my other content, subscribe for the vibes. And this channel, I have the mission to help you, especially if you are on the journey. It is called Magic Soul Ascension Journey because I want to help you ascend with my content, and I am sure I can provide you a lot of valuable lessons and guidance through this channel, and also through personal coaching. So you can contact me for that as well. But let's talk about this. Here it would be the more monadic twin flames. We were going to talk about this in another video. They are always mirroring. We have the masculine energy over here and the feminine over there. And if you are a very masculine person, then the feminine, or vice versa, will be very feminine, very much on this side already. They're not completely on the end because, again, we always have part of the other essence within us. If you are a little bit closer to the counterpart, would be a little bit closer to the center as well. You see, it's like a scale. They even each other out. If you would be the green, then in a soulmate attraction, it could be that you would attract a blue, but most likely we would attract what is matching our energy. So we do have the green that is closer to the center, or the red. If you're red, you would attract the other red energy. I hope you get what I mean. But usually, even though, and that's the paradox, I'm going to explain it later in detail also when we talk about astrology. I think it is fascinating, even though we already talked about that they either are more feminine and masculine in nature, they are still, one is very feminine, one is very masculine. You see it here. One is the orange or more orange, one is the blue. It is split. And the more one is in the masculine, the more the other is in the feminine. So yeah, let's talk about the yin-yang energy and astrology. So we do have the opposite houses, and if you saw my other videos about split twin connections, a split twin usually would have some kind of opposing energy. For example, one person could have an Aries sun and the other person a Libra sun, or they could also, for example, have both the sun in Aries, but one has it in the 4th house and the other one in the 10th house. Like the AC/DC line, like one person's rising sign would be the other person's descendant. That is something that can happen. And you see, these are the matches. We have Aries Libra, we do have Taurus Scorpio, Gemini Sagittarius, and so on. So this would be the opposing energy in astrology. So the odd houses, you know, like the 1st, 3rd, 5th, and so on, they're always masculine houses. And the even houses, the 2nd, the 4th, and so on, they're always feminine houses. Which means that the opposite, you know, we have the 1st house, Aries, and the opposing house, Libra. They are both odd houses, they are both masculine. Which is weird because they are polar opposite. Still, they do share the same oversoul energy, either more masculine or more feminine. And then again, masculine and feminine and masculine and feminine. So every planet besides the sun and the moon, they have a masculine and feminine side within themselves. You have the moon here, that's always feminine. The sun is always masculine. But for example, Mars, we do have Mars here, is ruling Aries and also Scorpio. I know it's not in here. Mars is the traditional ruler of Scorpio. So Scorpio is ruled by Mars, co-ruled by Pluto. Aries would be the masculine aspect of Mars, and Scorpio, an even house number 8, would be the feminine aspect. And you have that with all of the planets except for the sun and the moon. See, we have Mercury, Venus, and we got Mars. Here we got Jupiter. This is co-ruled by Neptune, and then we have Saturn. Aquarius is co-ruled by Uranus. So let's talk about these signs individually. Aries and Libra. Aries is ruled by Mars and Libra is ruled by Venus. You see it here. Mars is the more masculine energy and Venus is more feminine energy in nature. You probably heard of it. Venus feminine, Mars masculine, right? But Venus is in Libra, which is her masculine side. Venus has a feminine side. It's Taurus. But this is the masculine side. It's an odd house, number 7. So even though the energy is masculine and feminine because of Venus as a feminine sign, it is more masculine. Taurus and Scorpio, same thing. Taurus is ruled by Venus and Scorpio is ruled by Mars, co-ruled by Pluto. Mars is the more masculine energy and Venus is the more feminine in nature. But Mars is in Scorpio, which would be even house number 8, which is the feminine side of Scorpio. So even though the energy is masculine and feminine, you know, these houses, it is still more feminine. With Gemini and Sagittarius. Gemini is ruled by Mercury, you see it here, and Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. Usually you wouldn't say like Mercury, I would say it's like an it. It's not neither as much feminine or masculine in nature, neither. Jupiter can be more masculine because it can be connected to the husband in astrology. But so I wanted to say it's more the younger because Mercury is closest to the sun, so it's the fastest planet, has all of this vibrant energy. Jupiter is far away from the sun, so it's very slow and it is more mature energy. So this is how I divided the yin-yang energy here, not so much feminine masculine but young old, because yeah, I wouldn't say Mercury is either feminine or masculine, but however, Mercury is in Gemini and Jupiter in Sagittarius, and it is both masculine energy. You see it's number 3 and number 9. But even though the energy is more masculine and if you would say Mercury is feminine, then it may be a little bit feminine, but it is still more masculine because we do have the even houses here. But why is it still a little bit feminine? Because Mercury has a feminine side. It's the masculine side of Mercury, but Mercury has a feminine side, as you can see here with Virgo. Let's talk about Cancer and Capricorn. Cancer is ruled by the moon and Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. The moon is always feminine. It has no other side. The counterpart of the moon would be the sun. And Saturn is more masculine in nature. It is also called father time. However, Saturn has a yin-yang element, and Capricorn is the feminine aspect of Saturn. Aquarius would be the masculine side. So yeah, Saturn is in Capricorn. It is the feminine side. So even though the energy is masculine and feminine, it still is more feminine because, again, Saturn can be seen as a masculine planet, but still here he's showing his feminine side, and it's even houses. Then Leo and Aquarius. Yes, Leo is ruled by the sun and Aquarius is ruled by Saturn, co-ruled by Uranus, and the sun is always masculine energy. It doesn't have a feminine side. That would be the moon. And Saturn is, as we already talked, more masculine in nature. So this is, Root is like more almost purely masculine. Again, Saturn has a feminine side, but this is like pretty masculine. And also number 5, number 11, it's odd houses, masculine houses. Then last but not least, Virgo and Pisces. Virgo is ruled by Mercury and Pisces is ruled by Jupiter and Neptune. And here the yin-yang energy is less feminine, masculine, but more young, Earth is mature. Again, we were talking about that earlier. Mercury in Virgo is in Virgo, so showing its feminine side, and Jupiter is in Pisces, and yeah, both of them are in their feminine sides. So even though the energy is masculine and feminine, because both of them do have a masculine aspect, it is more feminine when it comes to Virgo and Pisces. So let's talk about the paradox. This is quite interesting. So even though in split twin flames, one person is strong in the divine or distorted feminine energy, and that distorted or divine depends on your level of awakening and ascension. If you still are in your shadow energy and your trauma energy, it is distorted. And once you have healed that, then it is the feminine, the divine energy. So and the other one is strong in the divine or distorted masculine energy. They are still more feminine and masculine in nature. We already talked about that when it comes to the houses. So the split twin flame is the perfect mirror and divine counterpart. So the feminine and masculine energy between them is always balanced. We already saw that. I told you the red would not attract someone, somebody who's very, very feminine would not attract a masculine that is not very, very masculine, but who has a stronger feminine side. But due to the opposing nature of split twin flames, they need to have some common ground to make the difference work. Again, we're talking opposite houses, which means they're usually completely different. That's why I always say that split twin flames, they need to have a third energy. They need to have some common ground. The common ground can be like just one aspect of it. It's not enough, but one aspect is that the shared oversoul is already either more feminine or masculine. So they do have energetically some common ground there. But again, this will not express themselves as one having more feelings than the other. Both would be considered being either feminine or masculine in society, like being either like girly, both of them, or tomboyish. Remember, one is usually strong in the feminine and one is strong in the masculine energy because of that split. But even though one may be more emotional or passionate, that's the right-brained energy, and the other more cerebral or rational, the left brain is stronger, they still will be complementary. Then we do have fire and air. Both are masculine signs. We're going to talk about this in a second. Fire is more passionate than air. Air is more cerebral, and still both are masculine elements. Water is more emotional and earth is more practical, and still both are feminine elements. You see? So even though they're masculine, they still are yin-yang. And here feminine, but still yin-yang in some way. The difference between masculine and feminine signs, the feminine signs are passive, inward, and absorbing, while masculine signs are active and outward. The feminine signs absorb energy from their surroundings and processes within themselves to experience it emotionally. And this is called introverted. Many people unfortunately confuse introverted with being quiet and extroverted with being loud. That can be an aspect of that, but that does not have to be. Being introverted means you like to withdraw sometimes and process things on your own, and extroverted means like you need input from another side. You process, for example, during a conversation with another person by sitting down and hear another person's side. That would be extroverted. That's the difference. So yeah, we do have the element symbols. We do have fire is red, and you know the signs Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, and earth, air, water. You see it over here. And it's very important. These signs are archetypes, and your zodiac sign will not determine if you are the distorted or divine feminine or masculine in your connection. So you could be, for example, a Gemini and still be the divine feminine or distorted feminine if you have not healed yet. So your sun sign or moon sign does not say which one you are. We're talking about energies. We're talking about archetypes in order to explain how it works out energetically. And yeah, here you see it again. We do have the masculine signs. You see masculines are the ones that are pointing up, like the phallic symbol, and feminines are pointing down, like the female crotch. And you see red and yellow masculine, you know, odd houses. The odd houses are always red and yellow, or you could say some graphics show different, but they're always fire and air. And the feminine houses are, or signs are always earth and water, and they're always the even houses. And then I made another graphic like here. You see we do have the masculine signs here and the feminine signs over here pointing down, but still this is more masculine. Why? Because the air element is very much connected to the mind, which is masculine energy in itself. And then we do have fire. Fire is passion, fire is emotional. Still, fire is a masculine and extroverted element, but it is passionate, emotional, and emotional is more feminine. And then we do have it here as well. You see the green, the earth. Earth is a feminine sign, but it is more grounded and more reasonable than the very emotional water signs. So water signs would be the very feminine, and air the very masculine. Again, we're talking about archetypes, so you could be like a Cancer and still be a tough dude, you know. That's absolutely possible, of course. It's the archetypes, but you see those ones, they are closer to the center, and those ones, they are even more in their own energy. So the paradox is that one split twin is strongly in the feminine and the other is the masculine energy, but still the oversoul would be either more feminine or masculine. We see it here. One is the masculine, one is the feminine, but still they are either more masculine or they are either more feminine. And you just have two examples. Aries, Mars, is masculine, very extroverted, yet very passionate. And Libra, the Venus, is masculine because Libra is very extroverted. Why? Libra always needs another person to balance them. Libra is ruling the 7th house, which is the house of relationship. It's the you house. It's like focusing on another person. Again, extroversion does not mean that you are loud. It means that you are focused on outside input, and introverted people are focused on their inner stuff that's going on. So Libra is a masculine extroverted energy, but it does seek harmony. Why? It's a Venus sign, of course, and Venus overall is more feminine. And also Libra is very diplomatic and rational, and that is again the masculine energy. It's air. We were talking about it. Libra is air, even though it's a Venus sign. Libra would be over here. And then we have Taurus. It's a Venus sign. It's very feminine. It's introverted. It's very sensual and grounded. And then on the other sides, opposing Taurus would be Scorpio, the Mars sign. Scorpio is a feminine energy. It's introverted and secretive. You know, that's not outward energy. It's inward energy. Here we do have the sensual, but Scorpio is sexual. Mars, you know, masculine, but still it's feminine. It can be quite intimidating and unafraid, which we would say can be more like masculine traits. But they like to go below the surface. We do have Taurus is very grounded, down to earth, Scorpio is not down to earth. Scorpio likes to dig in the mud and to find everything that they can't find out in the shadow. So you see that even though we do have the masculine signs, they are still yin-yang, and even though we have the feminine signs here, they're still yin-yang in some way, and that's the paradox. So yes, I hope you liked this video, and subscribe for more information on the subjects. There will be more videos like this. I am available for personal coaching. Don't hesitate to reach out and check out my other content. And till then, I wish you all the best. Bye bye.